Alright, I don't really feel like doing an intro, so just read the fucking title. Um, Round one, I instantly recognized the repeat. Alright, let's just pretend like this round didn't happen. Round two, we have this sort of like Asian feel to it. I don't know if I can actually see on this resolution, but these poles here, are Taiwan poles. Or, yeah, they're Taiwan poles. Um, I mean, the landscape fits as well, so I just kind of instant sent it on a one streak. Oh, here this one's a little tricky. I thought it was New Zealand at first. Or no, I thought it was Australia at first because the bollards looked Australian when you like pan really fast. But with the front of the car and the bollards, they're the New Zealand bollards, which you can see here. It's a little red, like gap in the middle. It's pretty easy New Zealand since there's bollards. Oh, this looks like it just looks like the Bolivian salt flats, I guess, or like the area near it where it's like the dry desert. White car fits for Bolivia. I mean, it really can't be anything else. I guess it looks like Argentina. It's hard to differentiate, but it definitely feels, since it's so flat and empty, um, it has to be like Bolivia, and it's not cold enough for it to be like southern Argentina or something. Um, Chile, just it, Chile would be like a lot drier. Peru would be more mountainous, you know. So that part of Bolivia fits the best, the western part, south of the mountains. This one is a little confusing. We have these mountains though, which look very alpine. Like, there's not many other places it could be. Like, it doesn't really look Norwegian. However, there is no antenna. Um, and usually all the countries around there have antenna, or it's low cam like Switzerland. But the most common place to have no antenna would be Italy. And additionally, I believe this thing on the guardrail here is an Italian road marker, but I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure so. Well, it is because it's fucking Italy. Yeah. Damn, what was I doing? Okay. Here, this little white thing on the pole here. Uh, this is a possum guard. But it's so long. It's like they have them in Australia, but they're a little shorter. And they're not usually white. So I knew this was New Zealand as soon as I saw the pole and the landscape fit. It felt a lot like Australia though. So whenever I feel like it looks like Australia, it's a lot like the Panhandle usually because it's like a warmer climate, more closer to Australia. I mean, I didn't guess there because I was just going for country streak and didn't really feel like actually guessing where it is. Okay. Off the bat here, these look like Taiwan poles, I believe, unless it's Hong Kong, but I believe this is Taiwan. It looks a lot like one of the little islands. I don't know if it is. I don't remember. It's a while ago. Yeah, and it's also low cam, which you can't get in Taiwan, rarely. So that fit as well, as compared to Hong Kong or another Asian country. And I guess Pengu, because Pengu's I think covered in almost all low cam. Um, I think it's all low cam. There might be a little bit of like Gen 4 not low cam, but I think it's all low cam and like with the like little shrubs. It felt islandy, like we're right on the coast or something. Like these are like coastal trees compared to like anywhere else in mainland Taiwan. So that's why I guessed Pangu, and it was correct. I don't know why I actually zoomed in this time. Sometimes I decide to actually guess where I think it is. Sometimes I don't. Okay, we have this roof, camping gear, and the snorkel, Mongolia car. It's just and this sort of like mountain landscape. Like the mountains, it has to be the western half of the country. It just feels like it. I'm not very good at Mongolia. I just clicked the middle, of course, and it was like right in the middle, pretty much. But it wasn't like middle or west. Wait, I don't know what this is. Oh no, I know what this is. This one took me a while to figure out. I couldn't figure out what it was. It felt like Switzerland or something. But my first thing I noticed was these road lines in the middle, which look very French with the spacing. Like this sort of style is super French. Like it's very similar to the ones you see in UK or Ireland, mainly UK. With just a feeling to it. You can pay attention to. When I was playing this game, I actually didn't notice the dash lines on the side, or else it would have probably made this location a lot easier. But like that mountain felt very like alpine when I looked at it. So, or it also look, I don't know, it kind of looks like Corsica. I think I guess end up guessing Corsica. It kind of just has a European vibe with like really the thing I guessed off here was the road lines. Oh no, I think it is Corsica. I guess the Alps. The mountain reminded me of the Alps, so you know, at least I got the country right based off the road lines. Otherwise, I was way away. So okay, here we have low camera, which you can tell because the blur is bigger on the Google car, and you look like you're walking like a toddler. It's a little closer to the ground than normal. I don't have time. I'm trying to show you the back of the car here, but it won't even focus in. It's all blurry, but since the back of the car is visible, and it's white, that's always going to be Japan. You can get low cam other places, but if it's low cam and white like that, it's going to be Japan. So I don't have to look at the lock, even though it was easy Japan regardless. This is Malaysia. Overall vibe. Oh, I literally spent 2 seconds on that. The overall vibe is super like Asian. I'd say either Malaysian or Indonesian. The road's wide. It feels more just immediately Malaysian road, but it could not be. But the biggest hint is this pole right here, which won't even load in. It has a white sticker on it, but it looks like it's a T. As well as this one over here, which is like the double pole with the lines across it. They're both Borneo, Malaysia poles that you can get. And since it's so mountainous, I guessed in Sabah. I assume I did at least. That's where I would guess right now. Okay, no, I didn't. And it wasn't Sabah either, it was Sarawak. But it was Malaysia. Alright, this location actually, on my map I made, a diverse world. I actually just happened to click this road. Or, actually I think Dustin sent me this log. But I've seen this exact road before. I couldn't remember what city it was. But I was just making sure, because I probably wouldn't even guess here. It's North Macedonia. You have no antenna, so it does make sense. Like, your only other options really Serbia and Europe with no antenna. Serbia or North Mac are like the 2 countries that usually have no antenna. And the kind of landscape kind of fit. The car blur is super weird. I couldn't remember what city it is, so I end up just plonking in the middle. But I believe it's like by Ohrid, if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, I actually spent like a little bit of time because I didn't trust my memory. But yeah, it's by Ohrid in the hill. Usually, like North Macedonia coverage is either in cities or on main highways, so it's kind of a unique lock. Here we have yellow outside lines, which means you're in the Middle East or Africa 99% of the time. But these mountains, they're like plateau buttes. God, dude. They're just Lesotho mountains. The flatter part of Lesotho, like with these flat plains, is usually the northern part, northeast of Maseru. I'd say like either here or up along here. Okay, as I said that, it's the southwest, so ignore that. Either way, it's Lesotho, just based off those hills. They're very unique. Here, I like the cows. You know, France got cows. But you got the blue sticker here, which is on for French poles. So I think I insta-send France here. It's like pretty much only on French poles. And the landscape fits as well, especially with like the shitty Gen 2. Yeah. So yeah, I just guess France, and it ended up being Pyrenees. Honestly, looking at this, I'd probably guess Alps, but it was Pyrenees. Okay, here we have shitty Gen 2 again. You can tell because there's this like dirty halo in the sky, and there's a little blur down here. But it's like the older version of Gen 2, where it's like more colors are more faded. And one of the countries that was completely covered in that, well, one is Germany, which you can use a lot, but another one that was covered like that was Macau. And this just looks like Macau or Hong Kong. With like the sort of the Asian hills, driving left. Not many places are gonna look like this. I guess tropical hills might be a better description. And driving left, it's like pretty much only Hong Kong or Macau. Like I guess Malaysia and Indonesia, but neither of them have Gen 2, so you can immediately rule that out just based off the camera. So yeah, it ends up being Macau, I believe. I mean, I probably could have 5K'd in like if I actually tried, but I of course did not. It's 15. Here we have the white lines. So sun actually looks southern here, which is a problem. But usually sun would be in the north, which means we'd be in the southern hemisphere. These trees look super. They're just eucalyptus, right? I mean, eucalyptus are known for being from Australia. And these ones, like with like they start to like branch out the top. They aren't very thin. They like spread their leaves, spread their branches. you find in the much more common in like the southern parts of Australia, both west and east. I think this ends up actually being Victoria, if I remember correctly, which is very unusual, like for this location. Normally you don't, like with the sort of sandy stuff, you guess South Australia, maybe even west, like Western Australia, but it's a little like soil there is a little more orange. I think it ends up being Victoria, but yeah, I just guess. Oh, nope, I guessed in Victoria because I thought I remembered it being in Victoria. Seeing something like this in Victoria ends up just being South Aus, which makes a lot more sense because how white the soil is, and these trees which you get like all along like the southern coast basically. I would say more common like well in South Aus I'd say, but yeah, I've seen there's locations that look like that in that place where I click Victoria, so I click there. Instantly this is Chile. It's hard to describe, but the sun is north, way north. Which means we're probably pretty far in the southern hemisphere. Pretty confidently saying you're in the southern hemisphere. It looks pretty cold, so you're like between like New Zealand, Chile, and green. So you're like and mountainous, so you're like it's like New Zealand or Chile. And then we have white car, which we're out in New Zealand, white back. You'll get that in Chile, as well as the Chile pole with oh my god, dude, the Chile pole with the hollow indent here. So it's just like pretty easy Chile. It actually has kind of an island vibe. I don't know if it was. No, it wasn't. It was just central. So the next location's like super dry desert, right? With mountains. Media looks like the Atacama Desert to me. Chile. Super, like that's the driest part in the world, and there can be some mountains. So wouldn't have been surprised if it was there. But when I pan, I see the black car, which you can't get in Chile, and you also can't get in Bolivia. Well, Bolivia wouldn't be this dry, but you can't get in Bolivia. So it's literally only Argentina and Peru. Argentina probably wouldn't be this dry, so it just has to be Peru. NPZ, I might have guessed Chile, not gonna lie, but this wasn't NPZ. Well here the instantly notes tree from the pole, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has these poles that are leaning. It looks like they're supporting each other. Like they have in the Baltics. They're also square. They look like tie poles. They have these bulbs on the top. This is another street pole where it's like looks just like a tie pole without the leaning support. There should be some little holes at the top. You can't see them because I didn't zoom on them. Also driving left, and these buses look super street. Everything just looks street. Oh, and there's also the street Google car if you're unfamiliar, which has this little red spot on the right, and there's some blue on the left. But I didn't pan to really look at it. Okay, here, it kind of looks like a difficult round, but it really isn't, because it's Gen 4 camera, which rules out quite a lot of countries, just the ones that have it. I'd say it looks super alpine as well, but I could understand if you think it's like Norway or something. That would make sense, just with the super high mountains, but it's obviously super high elevation, because you literally can't see the ground down here. But I'll say the biggest in here is like the super nicely, like it's not nice, but it's like the concrete is very unusual, I'd say. It's like a light gray color. It's like super like, I don't know how to describe it, like well defined. That doesn't make any sense, does it? It just looks like an Austrian road. Like you don't get roads, like roads in Switzerland are usually darker. Italian roads don't usually, like you don't usually have roads like this in Italy. France, same thing. They're usually like wider roads, or it's Gen 2. And it's just, everything fits for Austria. I mean, you'll get these roads even in the flat part of Austria. It's like pretty distinguishable if you like look at it. I'd say one thing that's like it's kind of grainy. So yeah, that might be a way to describe it. That's not completely bullshit. But that's a 20 streak. Okay, this round I was a repeat. I specifically remember going rush on this. Even though it's very tropical and that'd be very stupid. But one of the things here is black car with long antenna. Just super slims it down super much, because black car and long antenna, only countries are gonna be where it's common is Spain, Israel, Russia, Taiwan. I mean, you can get it in France, you can get it in Ireland, you can get it in UK, you can get it in Poland. But it's super rare in those countries. But basically, of those countries I named, the only one with the tropical landscape is Taiwan. So it makes sense. It's just a super weird location. Usually you can see mountains in Taiwan if you're in a location like this. Like, otherwise you'd be in like rice fields in the flat part. So it's kind of cool. I like this lock. I double check just make sure I'm remembering correctly, because we're kind of getting on a big streak now. Oh yeah, that's why. That's why. There's no mountains. I mean, it's just some random flat island over by Chinese coast that's owned by Taiwan. I think it is. It should be. I mean, that would make sense. So, yeah. Okay. This one was a repeat I remember from my stream one time. Because I thought last time it was a Yukon repeat and everyone was saying Alaska, including Havard. Hopefully, well, yeah. So I remember where this was. I would have gone Yukon anyways, just from last time. But like, it's super north with these like super skinny tall trees. The ones you get in Alaska and Yukon, and I guess maybe northern Russia, but there's not much coverage up there. But I think you've seen it on the new coverage that's up there. And the Gen 2 fits for either Alaska or Yukon. So either one's honestly not the worst answer, but you just gotta know your roads in this area, and that one's a Yukon road. This is just immediately Turkey. I mean, I hope it's Turkey, but with like the green hills, super Turkish looking hills. Road looks super Turkish, and then there's gonna be a Turkish bollard as well. Turkish chevrons, you know, Turkish pole, Turkish everything because it's Turkey. This should be Guatemala. We have the Google car, which I pan to, but you can just tell before I pan that it's Turkey or Guatemala because like, fuck, I'm trying to get okay, whatever. The single yellow. And it's sort of like, they almost look like Mexican trees. But the road is super Guatemalan. It's just a vibe sort of thing. I really keep on going back to this Turkey round, sorry. It's sort of a vibe thing. I would say, like, roads just don't look like this anywhere else. And then you also have these pine trees, which are like high elevation trees. I guess they could be Mexico, Colombia. But, yeah, at the very least, you have the Google car. That's Guatemala Google car with the mirrors and the bars, so you know it's Guatemala. Okay, this was probably the hardest round in the streak, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. But first off, Soviet-looking car, right? So you're probably in a Russian-influenced country, but that's why I immediately checked for an antenna here because I was very surprised that there's no antenna. It looks like Russia or Ukraine to me. You have like these poles are like these. It's hard to explain. They're like Soviet-style poles. You get them in like Latvia, Lithuania. This isn't either of those because there's mountains. Ukraine, Russia, of course. I think that's it, really. I mean, maybe Estonia, but I don't really know. It's not Baltics because it's too hilly and it's like these trees don't fit. The trees are skinnier up there. But between Russia and Ukraine, you're only gonna get no antenna in Ukraine, even though it's really rare in Ukraine. And we have the Soviet car and everything, so pretty much like the only other thing, like usually when you have no antenna, it'd be like Serbia. These trees just don't fit for Serbia. And I don't think those poles are Serbian either, so the trees are too like high elevation. Like usually they're like, it's more like temperate, I would say, and like, is that the right word? No, less temperate. I don't fucking know in Serbia. So yeah. So I guess in the one part where there's mountains in Ukraine, which is this little green part. I'm just double checking. Because it's a pretty big streak. Yeah, also that bridge looks pretty, like, at least European. But we wouldn't have that type of guardrail on the bridge, and it was in those mountains in the United States, so. That's 25, like, it's getting close to my previous PB. Okay, this sort of thing, it's Botswana. Why isn't it South Africa? I'm trying to think. It's a vibe thing. It's a little like this sort of like soil. I feel like it would be redder in South Africa. It's more sandy. It's more darker at times and at different places in Botswana. These bushes could be in like northern South Africa. Usually South Africa has less trees, I would say, less bushes. You also have the white car, which is in both countries. Sun is north, which makes sense for a southern hemisphere country. But I would say like these sort of trees that are dead, they feel very near the big lake in Botswana. That's probably where I would have guessed. I don't remember. I guess south of it, and it was right by the lakes. So yeah, a lot of those roads there have covers like that. It's pretty cool. I have no idea what this is in NPZ. Wait, I need to see it. Oh yeah, I remember this lock because I like had no idea what it was until I saw the Google car, which is with this sort of car. It's the Guatemala car again. Is that 3 Guatemalas or 2? I think it's 3. Gotta check if I'm recording. Did I plug in my computer? No, I didn't. 27. Okay, this one confused me because yellow plates in England or yellow plates in Europe are usually UK, Netherlands, Luxembourg, maybe France, but it's actually a commercial vehicle, so it could be Denmark. I didn't really register right away that this is the Danish language with the A and the E. That's a Danish letter. I think it might be in Norwegian too. The yellow plate is pretty much has to be Denmark. I might have taken a second here to realize that. As I was panning, I was like, wait, it's Denmark. So I sent Denmark. It's a cool story. Oh, this should be Bhutan. Nice cows. A lot of animal locks in Bhutan. A lot of animals. If you look at the Google coverage, very cool place. But sort of like, it's super high elevation. Like, I think most of Bhutan's over 8,000 feet, not meters. Yeah, feet. I read that the other day. The poles fit Bhutan. You can get tons of animal locks. It looks super high with like these canyons. Super classic Bhutan lock. I mean, if you've seen Bhutan before in Geoguessr, it looks like this pretty much. So, and also this car with like the like. Oh, come on, man. Okay, the Google car with the like. Oh, I can't get a good. I didn't like let it load in fast enough. Like, there's a little black spot and there's white and there's white. I don't even know if you can be able to see it on the recording. But that's like a Bhutan car. That's usually the car you have in Bhutan. I'm trying to think where else you have it. Like Indonesia, I've seen it. Not many places though. Usually you don't have that sort of blur or whatever's going on back here. But yeah, so I just double checked that when I panned to make sure it's Bhutan. S29. And why did I take so long to click? Who knows? Alright. Okay. I honestly didn't know what this was, NMPZ. I don't know if I would have gotten an NMPZ. But you pan, you have a black car with a slightly tilted antenna. This is the Java exclusive car. It just instantly tells you it's Indonesia, Java. It kind of looks like the Columbia car, but you can tell it apart because you can see the entire back of the car. As opposed to just this section, as well as the tilted antenna. So it's just Java. That was actually a pretty good score. It was like 23.9k or something. Okay, is this Slovakia? No, this is the US. No, it's Slovakia. No, it's the US. It's the US. Yeah, there's no antenna. Wait. Yeah, it's the US. Okay. I don't know why. Like, this sort of winter coverage looks a lot like Slovakia, but these trees right here are southern pines. They're like skinnier at the top and have no tree leaves at the bottom. They have these sort of needles sticking out of them. They're different. Like, if you're in the northeast of the US, it would be more like leafy than like whatever this is. So I was pretty sure it was in the south here. This road feels very like Mississippi, Alabama. I just saw it. I think it was Alabama, right? Like, I don't know. Actually, kind of, I don't know what I'm saying. Could be like Arkansas or something. Yeah, it was Alabama. I wouldn't guess Tennessee there if I saw it lock again. Except I've been practicing my US, you know. I'm sure I was better. This lock, I initially thought Spain, and it is Spain. With these sort of Mediterranean mountains with the little bushes on them. I mean, this looks a lot like kind of like Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, you know, even Croatia. Any of those guesses aren't that too bad, but I'd say like with the steep size of the mountains and like, yeah, you can pretty much rule out Portugal. Also, it could be France, I guess, but not really. These sort of trees right here, like, you don't really see in Italy much, I don't feel. Not that much. So it's like pretty much Spain or Greece. And I don't even know if I noticed the dashed lines a little later, which you get in France and Spain. The France one's a little longer than this. The Spain are this sized, and it feels right for Spain. And then there's gonna be one more clue that I noticed. Is this? No, it's this black and white sign. That's a Spanish no hunting sign. So I was 100% sure I was on Spain there. I would have signed a while ago if it's a lower streak, but I was just making sure. Okay, here it should be Kyrgyzstan, yeah. NMPZ, this sort of fall coverage, and the mountains are super common in Kyrgyzstan, both those two things. Rest of it's just vibes, and then you can double check with the car here. You have Google car that with the mirrors and the bars is Kyrgyzstan exclusive. So, and I double check it because I'm stupid and I wanted to make sure that I wasn't throwing, because I like to throw big streaks with stupid guesses. Okay, this one actually took me a second here, because I thought it was like Portugal or something. You have these eucalyptus on the side of the road. I think they're eucalyptus. Yeah, they're eucalyptus. Like, you see eucalyptus a lot in like Australia, of course. Australia honestly wouldn't be a bad guess here. The road doesn't really look Australian at all, though. Usually you have like white outside lines in Australia. Portugal, sort of. Spain. This is the place you get eucalyptus. But I was looking on this lock and this pole right here. All these poles on the side of the road. Do I zoom on any of them? Yeah, these all look South African. And I was like pretty confused. But this is the new Gen 4 coverage. It just got released like a month ago, or maybe even less, in South Africa. And I kind of and you can see the back of the car there was on the left. The back of the car was here, so we knew we were on the left, driving on the left side of the road. So then it clicked for me that it was South Africa, with the poles that fit. And also there's these red and white. Oh my god, I can't even see them on the recording. Red and white chevrons down here, which you have on the side of the road in South Africa. So honestly, it wasn't that hard of a round, but it was just tricky because it was Gen 4 camera, which I'm not used to. I didn't even know it was on this map before this lock. Okay, here. God, man. Here, it's like yellow line in the middle of the road, so likely the Americas. I mean, it could be Asia, but not with these trees. You know, it won't be Asia with these trees. These are like NA pine trees. Maybe you could see them in like Bariloche in Argentina or something, but I doubt it. So basically, with these tall trees that are skinny and pointy, you basically have to be like Washington or north. Like the chance of it being like the only other place I can think of is like Ontario, you know, Minnesota. But like with these mountains and these trees, it pretty much got to be like British Columbia. It could even be Alaska. It kind of looks like Alaska. But the overall feeling was British Columbia. There was a front plate there, which isn't that helpful. It looked kind of white though, which would fit. I know British Columbia poles often have like this triangle with like 3 things here. So I'm not very good at knowing poles in Canada yet, but definitely felt like they could be British Columbia poles, so that's what I sent. I just clicked middle and ended up being way more south than I thought it would be. But yeah, somewhere high elevation in those mountains. This should be Uruguay. Yep. We have the yellow and white line, which you see in Argentina and Uruguay, and for countries in Latin America. But these poles look Uruguay. It's hard. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we have this white signpost. Is it white? I mean, wait, this is Argentina, right? Let me just make sure. I mean, this is Uruguay, right? Yeah, it should be. Okay, wait, I'm not even gonna check it. It has to be. We have these like skinny trees, which you see a lot on the side of the road in Uruguay. A lot. I mean, you can also get them in Argentina. But I'd say these little sticks on the side of the road are Uruguay poles. Usually you have different ones in Argentina. I'm sure the bus stop could be helpful for people. A lot of times you have rolling hills in Uruguay. It's relatively flat, but like there's not gonna be mountains in Uruguay, but you do get hills, very commonly. So yeah, and it was Uruguay. I could get. I don't know why I was scared of Argentina right now. Okay, it's 36, and then we have Brazil poles, and we have Brazil poles, which are these ladder poles. Did I even zoom on any of them properly? Yep, there you go. It has these segments in it. This feels very tropical. It feels like the North Coast, so that would make sense. And then there's a stubby antenna on the back of the car. I'm gonna try to pause on it, but I'm gonna fail. Ready? It's so blurry. Okay, there it is. You get that in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, Brazil for Latin America, and so you can know it's not any other countries. And you have the Brazilian pole, so those things together, I felt like Ciara or something. Where did I end up guessing? I didn't even care, I guess. I just clicked middle. And then here's the round I lost on. You can see me pan frantically as I realized that my time in the streak was over. It felt very Baltic to me. You have the white flowers, which are very classic and Baltic. You have a dirt road leading off. You have like a skinny road that's paved. I don't know what I'm guessing. Probably Latvia. Did I already send? No. But I was like, this could be Latvia, it could be Lithuania. It's probably not Estonia because there's no green blur, and you don't usually get paved roads in Estonia. You don't usually get them in Latvia either. It's usually Lithuania. I was like, it could be Russia, but if it's Russia, I'm screwed because Russia usually has long antenna, and this was a short antenna. But it was like one of those Latvia, Russia for me. Maybe even Poland. I didn't even consider Poland, but it doesn't really look like Poland to me. Honestly, wait, I should have probably gone Poland on this, but it ends up being Russia even with these flowers. I thought it was kind of sandy, so I went by the coast, and it was just by Moscow. And that's this video. Hope you enjoyed. No, I don't really care actually.